Morning traders, Paul here with GammaEdge. Today is Friday the 13th of January. Let's get started. Pause your players here, read to the bottom. If you agree, hit that play button. Overall, all the market models are green. We are now in day 7 or day 8, depending on how you count it. Looking for a little bit of a pullback, but nevertheless, we've been on this bullish case since the beginning, and would hope that you have been able to participate. A lot of happy people in the Discord. Market breadth, as viewed by the 52-week new high, new lows, continues to show expansion. That's great. Plus GEX dropped from 4,100 down to 4,000. We've been talking about this possibility. We've been bouncing around all week. You'll see on the last slide of the deck here that we've actually grown quite a bit on the 4,000. That's pure speculation. We expect it to go away, and we expect 4,100 to take over again once we get to Tuesday. The left goalpost remains at 3,800, and I'll note we are seeing a little bit of front running ahead of that, and we're going to pay attention to that and see what happens here. All the transitions have moved up, which is bullish for the structure. We've been talking about this week, and we need to see this occur for the bull to continue. So just pay attention to that too if you're not. Overall structures paint a clear path up to this 40-50, 40-65 zone. This has come down just one strike, which is really in the noise. There is some indication of a potential for pullback. Just be aware of that. We are a little extended. We're going into a 3-day weekend. But our view into next week certainly supports continued advancement, at least with what we have here today. If you're in the Discord, go ahead and click on this link and read the input that we had for a bull case in the SPX into next week. The market model, as I said, is all green. We're transitioning in the U.S. Composite cumulative tick, and you can see that it's very clean. You can see that we're advancing upward. We've been all over this, like I said, and the breadth indicators, the institutional or large sweep buying that we're seeing here is going north. All things are looking really good. Make sure you understand this and are tracking this. Key levels that we're watching, just want to call out here on the PM settled side, this minus GEX level at 40.65. That's actually the JPM short calls that expire at the end of March. These are not liquid, but they do exert an influence, and we're seeing them across the charts already. So in default of that, the next large gamma to the downside is at the 3,700 range. That's a good distance away. It's below the 3,800 that we're seeing in the overall combo complex, so nothing really to note here. When we look at the SPX, the combo, which is the AM and the PM combined, we did drop from 4,100 down to 4,000. That's where plus GEX is. COI, which is call open interest and put open interest, have remained unchanged. I note the flip of the more of these numbers are going positive, which means the overall structure is turning more call dominated in terms of deltas, and that's exactly what we would expect to see in this kind of environment. Yesterday, the expected move estimates were open, high, low, close were over 5%. That's what the market was pricing in. You can see this has dropped now that CPI has been printed. So the selling above and below these ranges probably are safe bets, but obviously not recommendations to do anything. The PM settled complex here, as I said, we've got this 40-60, 40-65 upside potential range. Note just the clean delta structure all the way on up. We are a little extended, a couple parking spots that we're looking at for tonight going into the 3-day weekend, but we do note that transition has moved up, and when transitions move up, the structure is moving up, and that's a bullish condition, so I want everyone to be aware of that. Taking a look at the 0 DTE, again, transitions have moved up. We've got a solid structure below us, so that is not supportive of a rapid decline. Taking a look here, that 40-35, 40-40 area is probably the top of the contributions from the 0 DTE today. Remember, this is a cash settled index, so there is no desire or no impetus to monetize unless they feel that their deltas would be in jeopardy. So they will... all these folks, if we do move up, will be in the money in terms of their calls, and that'll be a good thing. Now, all of that said, if we do have a large positive delta structure that is vaporizing today, those deltas have got to go somewhere, and the dealer is going to have to adjust. And so depending on if these are monetized and depending on how the dealers position into the close as well as the futures market, we'll have to get an idea of what could transpire into Tuesday. Remember, Monday's a holiday. In terms of the 1 DTE, relatively balanced overall. It's really hard to tease anything out of this. I did highlight some areas that we think are parking. Note that the transition's fat. This is, you're looking ahead to Tuesday, so this is our crystal ball view into Tuesday. The bottom of transition is relatively unchanged. The top, we're actually sitting in the top. You can see back and forth. Deltas start transitioning, and the gammas are not overly strong either way. So looking at some possibilities of where we could pin at the end of the day. We've seen this before. We're looking here at this 39.95 area, just underneath this huge dominant 4,000 strike. 39.70, 75 would be another area would be of interest to us. Of course, anywhere in between here, but these aren't very strong. We'd also be looking at anywhere in this area of the 39.30, 39.35, and 39.40 range is another pinning possibility into. So if you can pick these up for $5 or zero cost and do something with those, I would certainly do that. Taking a look at the overall combo, like I said, decreased open, high, low, close volatility, fairly narrow in the range here, driven largely by speculation at the 4,000 level here, that call open interest, put open interest in the combo complex. The structure has come down just slightly from where we were yesterday. 40-50 is kind of the upper range. Doesn't mean it can't change. If we stack some calls up here, all this could vaporize, and we could have a good runway at least up here to 40.65. To the downside, 39.15, 39.40 transition range. It's more or less where it was yesterday, so not a lot of shifting in the overall, big mothership here. One thing that we are mindful of, again, we are extended, and typically into a 3-day area, it would be not a surprise to see us actually pull back into the ranges that are closer to zero exposure in terms of delta and gamma. Right now, that's in this transition zone. So we would not at all be surprised if we did come back down into the higher ranges of the transition. And of course, the day's action will drive part of what those opportunities are. I just want to highlight something we're seeing grow here. This 38.15 zone is growing. It kind of sticks out like a sore thumb, and we don't think we're going anywhere near that, especially with a very dominant call structure here. But the fact that it's emerging, these are out of the money puts that are now starting to rear their head, and that could be material. It's above that 3,800 line. So we're going to watch this and just see what happens here with this. With that in mind, we are working on some delta visualization tools for you. And one of the things that we're tracking here is, where do these transitions really start to happen? Are they moving up and down? And what's the correlation or causality that we're seeing there? So the 37.15, 37.20 area is kind of where we start seeing the complex, really the sands come erode under our toes here, very far away, very, very far away, well below minus Gex. The key takeaway here is that as we see this encroach upward, those are basically calls that are getting closed and puts that are being added, especially as we go higher. These get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper on the put side. And so we're watching this come up in time and in strikes. And so we want to pay attention to that, or we think we want to pay attention to that. Last slide here, as I said, 4,100 used to be the plus Gex. That has dropped down to 4,000. We were in the 20,000 Gex yesterday, and you can see now we've jumped up to 36,000. This is all pure speculation, right? So this growth, I would urge everyone to go back to the morning call of last Friday and just take a look at the charts. It looks a lot the same, where you got a lot of speculators really positioning on a key strike. We are here right now at this 39.83. You can see we're up in the structure. It's not as clean as it's been the past few days. So we are seeing a little bit of a transition in the transition. So a little bit of a change in character here in the transition. Want to pay attention to that. Just be aware of that. To the downside, the 3800 line is strong, 37, 36, etc. Kind of decreasing as we would expect on a monotonic type of basis. So overall, we're mindful of this push up to 4,000. We don't think we're going to go much higher deep into this yet, although there is a case that suggests we could go there, and I would urge everyone to read that within the Discord. To the downside, I don't think we're going to drop below this 39.25, 39.20, 39.15 zone. Anything's possible. Hiding spots overnight into the 3-day weekend would not surprise us if we pulled back down into this area. That would be a nice, safe, low visibility, low exposure area for the dealers, and the market could enjoy their 3 days. So with that, I will leave you. Hope to see you in the Discord. If you have any questions, comments, whatever, go to GammaEdge.us. Up in the right-hand corner, you'll see a pricing link. Go ahead, click that, fill out the blanks, come on in. Kick the tires, and happy to discuss what we have there. On Twitter, follow us at GammaEdges, and then here on YouTube, of course, give me immediate feedback if you like today's commentary by smashing that like button. It tells me that I'm providing the content you want to see. And then, of course, subscribe, because Taylor and I are posting videos, and we want you to see what we're seeing and perhaps even use this in your overall methodology. So with that, I bid you farewell. Make it a great Friday the 13th. Make it a great holiday, 3 days. Do your studies. Get prepared for next week. Thanks, everyone.